Are you building garden beds, getting ready for spring planting? Today I'm going to show you some easy ways to do that, so stick around. Hey guys, welcome back to another Slightly Rednecked video. Again, my name is Chris. If you're not familiar with this channel, I help you to produce your own vegetables, meat, and eggs from your backyard, your balcony, your deck, your garage, or heck, even a spare room in your house, if that's the way you want to go. Today I'm going to show you how to build some garden beds, how to do it really fast, really simple, and really cheap. And these things produce fantastic. All right, we're taking a look at my garden right here, and you can see I've got a garden bed right over there that's already got garlic growing in it. That was planted back in August. And then I've got these other beds lined out, two right there, and I've got one that's just almost done right here. This is the one I'm going to show you so you can see the process. It's pretty easy. If you've seen my other videos on sheet mulching, I'll put a link right there. You can go watch that, and that shows you kind of how I did the whole garden. And this year what I'm doing is actually just defining some beds. Normally you could do this over a large scale. You can do it over a small bed. It doesn't really matter. The reason I'm doing small beds is to save on material. And you'll notice I've got weed fabric over the top of the beds themselves. That helps me to define the bed a little bit, but more than anything, it's just because I couldn't get enough mulch. Normally I would just mulch this stuff real heavily, but mulch is in short supply right now, so I'm using the weed fabric to kind of minimize the amount of mulch I need. Process is pretty simple though. Again, this area has already been sheet mulched. So all I do is just uncover the mulch off of it, the existing mulch, and you can see it's kind of spread up on the sides there. I dump all my rabbit manure, and that's the secret ingredient right here, is dump all your rabbit manure. If you don't have rabbits and you can't get a hold of rabbit manure, check Craigslist, check eBay, even Amazon. There's people that will sell that to you. If you can't find somebody locally that you can get rabbit manure from, you can look for goat manure as well. Both of those are a cold manure. They don't need to be composted, so you can just throw them right on the garden bed. There's my bucket. I just cleaned out the rabbit bins today, and I just throw it straight on. Urine, hay, fur, all. It doesn't matter. It's all going to be fine. And all I do is just dump it out there. It's kind of a gross job. And then I just kind of rake it out a little bit, pretty thin. Initially, all that urine and all that going into the ground is probably going to drive the worms away, but they won't stay away for very long. And when we do the next steps, they're going to come back and they're going to till all this into the ground for us. We don't have to till it at all. Okay, looking at this from the other angle, you can see I've got a great big compost pile back there. I went and got some compost earlier. And really, you should do this in the fall. This is spring, this is March. Should be done in the fall and give it all, fall and all spring to kind of rest. But I couldn't get compost in the fall. I could only get it in the spring, so I waited till now to do it. And it's not that big of a deal. It'll be fine. But there's the garden bed. That's this part right here. Has already got rabbit manure on it. It's been sitting for several days, and then that's the fresh manure I just put on it. The next step, I'm going to put some compost on top of this. So let me get my compost going and I'll show you that. All right, snow shovel works great for hauling compost, and I'm just going to put this right on top, and I want it fairly thick, an inch or two, and I'll just spread it out and I'll put it across this whole thing right here, cover up all that rabbit manure with it. All right, so I got the whole bed covered with compost now, and the next thing to do would be to mulch it real heavily. If you can't get mulch, you'd want to put like an inch or two at least of wood chips or grass clippings or dead leaves or whatever over the top of this. That way you keep things from growing up in it, and you also promote the worms and things like that to come up and eat all that and till that in for you. If you cannot get mulch, like I'm having a hard time getting mulch right now, I don't like to pay for it. Our city gives it away for free, but we don't get it every year. So I just went and got landscape fabric and laid it out, and I'll get the bagger out on the mower and mow it and mulch in between in the walkways. That really cuts down the amount of mulch I need to produce. All right, I'm going to show you something here. This is my garden bed. Let me give you a good view of it. It's got all my garlic growing in it that was planted back in August. And to plant in this stuff, I just cut a hole in there and plant right down through it, and it grows right up through, no problem. But what I want to show you right here is why you don't need to worry about tilling this stuff in. Usually, I try to get these things done and let them sit at least a month before I plant into them. If you can't do that, not that big of a deal, you can do this anyway. But here's the nice thing. This was done the exact same way. Rabbit manure and then compost on top of it. And then it was done in August, and this is March. Now you can see there's not any rabbit manure down there, none, and it's just nice soft black dirt. It's still a little early in the season, so it's still clumping up quite a bit, but I can dig down in there quite a ways with just my hands, and there's no rabbit manure left. The worms have come up, the bugs have come up, and they've just chewed it all up. And if you peel this back, you can see, well, maybe not right now, you probably can't see it, but there's all kinds of little bugs and stuff moving around through there. So they'll take care of tilling all that in for you. You don't need to worry about it. and you won't need to fertilize again for the rest of the year. Don't stress about getting the mix exactly right either. This garden bed was previously sheet mulched, which I suggest if you're starting from bare ground, you do that. Again, I put that video link back there. You can watch that video on how to do it. This is just refreshing it after the year. If you can't get rabbit manure, but you can get compost, then use compost and don't worry about the manure. It's not that big of a deal. If you can get rabbit manure but not compost, well, heck, use the rabbit manure. Leave the compost off. Again, not that big of a deal. It'll make its own compost as the worms come up and start tilling that in. This is just, if you can get both of these things, check and see if you've got a city compost facility that lets you pick up bulk compost for free. That's what I do. If you can get both of them, that's best practices. All right, so hit that comment section up below there. Let me know, do you do something different to prepare your garden beds for spring? Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Sorry about the wind. As always though, God bless.